A presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are San Diego.
Last night, Martin Prado's home run sparked the Marlins' 13-4 win. Tonight, it's Drew Pomeranz trying to hook the fish for the Padres. He's regarded as the strongest, most powerful hitter in the National League, Giancarlo Stanton, but hitting a skimpy 192. And a new face in the lineup for the Padres, Ryan Shrimp from LSU. At El Paso, hitting a robust 355 and 15 home runs. Shrimp at third base tonight makes his major league debut. And good evening, everyone. With Mark Grant, Dick Enberg here at beautiful Petco Park. Second game of this three-game series. The Padres trying to recover from that shellacking last night. 13 runs and 19 hits for Miami. That's their season high.
Yeah, for a team that hits a lot of singles and low in the slugging percentage and on-base percentage, this Marlins team, they came out hacking. So Drew Pomeranz has got to be on his game tonight.
And Drew Pomeranz has been a strikeout machine, more than a strikeout per inning pitch this year.
And hopefully he can contain these Marlin hitters because, Dick, this is National League. They've got three in the top six with batting averages in the National League. Prado, Yelich, and Osuna. And this is a Marlins team that's 2 games above 500, but yet without the services of D. Gordon and the slumping Giancarlo Stanton.
Well, and Ichiro would be the 400 hitter, and here's that curveball, but against Atlanta, it didn't work as well.
No, he was missing with location, and you know when you throw that curveball and it has a little bit of a roll up in the zone, it's not going to have that bite. So the one thing Drew Pomeranz needs to do is concentrate on keeping the curveball down in the zone. He will get a lot of swings and misses. 2 times this year, he has struck out the opposing batters in the double digits, 10 strikeouts 2 times this year, so hopefully that's the case tonight.
And he's been outstanding all year, up in the top 8 in ERA and the top 3 in batting average. Well, it's kind of strange to look into that dugout and see that man, Barry Bonds. He is the hitting coach for these Miami Marlins, and testimony is they got a lot of 300 batters. We'll see what he has to say when we come back. where Jerry's price is the lowest price every day. By Petco, your complete pet store. By Land Rover, above and beyond. And by SeaWorld. Enter tonight's keyword home run on the Ways to Win page at foxsportssandiego.com.
Welcome back to Petco, everyone. Padres and Marlins about to get underway. But first, former slugger Barry Bonds made headlines during this offseason when he accepted the role of hitting coach for the Miami Marlins. And many questioned how he would adjust to his new major league role. Well, it seems as if he's settling in just fine. He had this to say about his responsibilities.
Each individual has a work ethic. We know that as well as anyone. Has a different work ethic that they may feel that works. But it's my job also to show them that there's other methods that work, and we have to stick with some of those methods to bring you back. Because as a baseball player, a lot of things you don't really have to overly teach. You just have to get them back on track.
Sage words from a gentleman who knows a thing about hitting. Well, when we return, Padres and Marlins for Game 2. Hey, stay hot, Will Myers. Do us a favor and do that. You got this. We'll see you in a bit.
It's got a good sound to it. And that one hurt.
Back-to-back games for Chad. The Marlins take game 1 of the series.
And welcome to Petco Park as the Marlins and Padres go to action here in the middle game of the 3-game series. And in tonight's game, we're participating in the Home Run Challenge. Tonight, every home run in the game raises $7,400 for prostate cancer research. You can make a pledge by going online to homerunchallenge.org. Last night, a home run fest, $22,000 goes to prostate cancer research just from the very first game of this series.
And hopefully a lot of home runs tonight. And this is a slugfest, and the Padres end up winning 14-12 and 8 home runs.
Mostly blue skies overhead here at just past the hour of 7 on the West Coast. As we check the Marlins lineup, brought to you by Hyundai. Echeverria, Prado, and Yelich, then Ozuna. 3 straight 300 hitters. And if Ichiro were in the lineup, it'd be 4 in a row. Then it's Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, everyone's bewildered by the fact this guy just is striking out, not getting his hits. Chris Johnson, then Jeff Mathis, the catcher. Miguel Rojas bats 8th, and then Tom Kohler, the left-hander on the mound. And we're set to go as Drew Pomerantz quickly gets ready to work. How about Pomerantz?
Drew Pomerantz, who says 13 is unlucky? He wears it. It is his 13th start. All-star stuff. Curveball anytime. We talked about it recently. The location of the curveball. Hopefully it's down tonight for some swings and misses.
The Rebel from Ole Miss delivers the first pitch of the game, and it's in there for a strike called by plate umpire Nick Lentz. Echeverria, he can be troublesome. His average isn't impressive, but in past games against the Padres, he always seems to come up with a big hit. There's Lentz behind the mask with Blazer, Eddings, and crew chief Nelson on the bases. 1-1. And it's taken on that breaking ball down low. 2-1. Yeah, with a college draft, amateur draft in recent memory. You look at Pomerantz, a #1 pick in his time. That was 6 years ago, and he was the 5th overall selection by Cleveland.
And kind of a short strider, Drew Pomerantz, and enables him to get up on top, and with that curveball and with the fastball down in the zone, high 3/4 delivery. Hey, fewer pitches this evening than Colin Ray. That was one of the things that kind of hurt him last night.
And he goes full count to Echeverria with Prado and Yelich to follow.
Colin faced 6 Marlins. Drew needs a quick first inning here.
Looped out of foul, out of play. Well, you may be wondering, those of you tuning in and seeing the Miami Marlins, hey, where is Ichiro Suzuki? He played last night, 3 for 4. He's now only 2 hits away from, when you count his Japanese base hits, more hits in his career than Pete Rose. And ball 4, the leadoff walk, not a good sign. And a look at the Padres defense, brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers. Matt Kemp in right, Jay in center, Upton in left, the usual outfield formation. Schimpf gets his start at third base, major league debut. Ramirez and Amarista up the middle, and Myers at first base. He has had the hot bat. Christian Bethancourt behind the plate for the 6'6" left-hander Drew Pomerantz.
Well, a couple of factors here with Bethancourt, that cannon behind the plate, and left-hander Pomerantz. Let's see what type of running game, if any, Don Mattingly puts on for these Marlins.
Prado had that 2-run homer in the 7-run second inning last night that got the Marlins off to a great start on their way to a 13-run, 19-hit attack. He's always been a professional hitter.
Absolutely. When you speed up his bat, breaking ball in the zone, that spells trouble.
Just his 2nd home run of the season, but look at that batting average, .332.
Well,
0-2.
Drew Pomerantz has got that curveball we talked about, but also he'll throw it harder. That seemed to be the harder breaking ball. And there it is, the old flip of the finger, the index finger, and great location.
10-4 on the clock. Tough out, Prado. And there it is, base hit through the hole. His road batting average is the best in the majors, .425, and he adds a base hit his first time up tonight.
You know, the one thing, Dick, that I look at when I watch Prado swing the bat, he just does not have one type of swing. You know, if he's got 2 strikes on him, he'll shorten up. He'll fight this off here, and that bat will die happy, finding the 5.5 hole.
It did have the sound, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Snapped it.
Strong enough to push it through for a base hit. And that's the luck of the draw for a pitcher. He hits that 10 feet farther to the right. It's a double play. So 2 on, no one out. And Christian Yelich, the batter. .319 his average in the dirt, ball 1. He is to this Miami lineup what John Jay is to the Padres, a doubles machine. He has 19 doubles, Jay with 20. Padres hoping they get a ground ball up the middle there and turn 2 behind Pomeranz. Spanked down into the left field corner and slicing just foul out of our side from the press box. That a corner that we don't see until we get this same replay, and that's only about 7 feet foul from being maybe a 2-run double.
Yeah, ball down that line off the left-handed swing of Yelich is going to slice. Getting it that high up in the air. A line drive, different story.
Highest batting average. Prado is 2nd in the league behind Daniel Murphy. Yelich is 4th. Ozuna is 6th. Pretty good lineup. Ichiro's hitting .350, but not in the lineup tonight. That's in there 1 and 2.
That's exactly where Drew Pomeranz needs to be. That's a very tough pitch to hit, and Giancarlo Stanton in the lineup tonight, waiting to approach the dish.
So 2 on, no one out here in the top of the 1st. He needs a strikeout. Just outside. Trying to pepper that low outside corner.
Yeah, and Christian Bethancourt doing everything he can to just stick that glove right there. Try to not create any movement as that fastball approaches home plate.
Echeverria with a walk at 2nd. Prado with a single at 1st. Roll to 1st, right to Myers, will make the play as the runners move to 2nd and 3rd. The out was called, and first base umpire Corey Blazer signaling that the runner Yelich left the 3-foot lane leading to first base and called him out whether he was tagged or not. And Don Mattingly makes an appearance.
You can even hear that from the field, Mike. Corey Blazer pointed and said, no, the runner's out of the baseline. Let's take a look. Looks like he got him anyway, but out of the baseline according to the first base umpire.
That last 45 feet, you have to stay in that lane, and he slides outside the lane, then reaches back in with the left hand. Getting more heated, Mattingly and umpire Blazer.
Well, he should be ejected. You can't argue, right?
You can challenge. It's all right to suggest. He's not arguing. He's just suggesting vigorously.
You know, from that one look, I thought that Will even got him on the jersey.
Well, Mattingly has made a strong enough argument. He's got the umpires huddling.
Yeah, he got him on the jersey right there. You can see the glove curling towards the outfield as that webbing of the glove. So everything else would be a moot point.
So the crew chief, Jeff Nelson, working at 3rd, gives Mattingly the words that he does not want to hear. He's out. Now let's see just how far Mattingly wants to go. It's only about 65 feet over to that dugout, and then another few steps up into the clubhouse. Should he get ejected?
Yeah.
Yelich reading his lips, saying that's a joke. Well, I won't read his lips. Something about.
He said that's Bolshoi. It's a Russian ballet, and I saw it this offseason.
Yeah,
and you should go yourself because it's a really good show.
It is. Well, you know, he grew up in Evansville. Bolshoi goes there every year. They do an annual appearance there in southern Indiana. Wouldn't miss it.
I'm surprised they haven't tossed him, quite frankly, Dick.
You know, actually, it's kind of refreshing to see an argument with that manager trying to make his point.
It is kind of the.
I
kind of miss it.
Yeah, I do. I do miss it. And the fans here at Petco responding, "Hey, enough's enough." Oh, now I'm reading the umpire's lips. La Jolla, that's just you get on the freeway, get off it. Okay, so everyone's satisfied. Now they're going to huddle again. Oh, come on. Now I don't like it so much. Apparently Mattingly is just not giving up on his point of argument.
You know, the runner creates the baseline from his starting point down the first baseline, and clearly the glove moves of Will Myers.
So might as well go challenge it if they're going to just huddle there. What is the system for?
I think he got him on the number right there.
Looked as if it did. There was a little wrinkle on the bat. Right there, right on the nose. And now they're going to go to the review process. They could have done it right off the bat, but then we wouldn't have seen the argument.
Now the runner creates the lane in which he is running from the first point to the second point, which would be the bag. Now, it's a judgment call because it's usually a step and a reach that the umpires look at. Therefore, the 3 feet. You know the old 3 feet rule, running out of the baseline? Well, it's in the umpire's judgment that when it's a step and a reach by the runner. Okay, see, here's the line. He's creating his line right there up the line. Now, see how he kind of diverts this way a little bit? Now, in the judgment of the umpire, that's 3+ feet. He also tagged him, and I think that they're going to find out that out of the baseline is going to be just thrown out a moot point, because I feel that I saw the glove of Will Myers touch the back of Christian Yelich.
Well, let's see what the people in New York see. Those are umpires that are making that decision. And at this point, the ruling on the field is he's out, runners at second and third, and now what? Now, what does that mean when you just wiggle your finger like that?
See, this is where the umpires should be mic'd, and they
or
should
at least
address
give
the
a
crowd.
clear signal. I mean, come on. They can't. I mean, he either can throw up his fist, he's out, or he's safe, but he's out. But we have to figure that out ourselves, since Yelich has not come out of the dugout and occupied first space. Boy, this system's got to be.
Dick, that's really strange. You make a good point. There was no signal made. He just kind of rolled his finger like, let's go.
Kind of dangerous when you start rolling fingers, you know. Now they're going to play the game under protest. Is that what we're hearing? I'm totally confused. They've reviewed it, and the fact that I guess they gave no signals, out or safe, but he must be out at least.
Correct.
Or he'd be out there. But now Mattingly is apparently feels strong enough about his argument that the game will be played under protest. Rarely does this ever result in a game being ruled incomplete because of the call. Meanwhile, Marcell Ozuna, the cleanup hitter, steps in. He's batting .318 with 12 home runs, tied with Stanton for the home run lead.
And you know, I was always under the impression that a game cannot be protested unless it's a rule, not a judgment call. I mean, that's a judgment call on the umpire.
Yeah, it is.
Whether he's out of the baseline or not. So therefore, I mean, I always thought it had to be a written rule that say, hey, you got the written rule wrong.
Correct.
So we're going to protest.
Meanwhile, you've iced the pitcher Pomerantz, and now he's 3-0 on the next hitter. I don't like that part of the whole system either. And the bases are now loaded. They got their man at first after all. Second walk for Pomerantz. And we take a look at the keys to the game, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Keep Stanton stagnant. I mean, the numbers are mind-boggling, and not in a good way. Very, very bad numbers, straight scuffle for Giancarlo Stanton. And, hey, keep the line moving offensively. John Jay pass it on to Myers. Myers to Kemp, Jr., Ramirez, Schimpf.
193 at bats, 79 times he struck out, Stanton. Fouls it off. But a dangerous spot early for Pomerantz and the Padres. Marlins have him loaded up, 1 out, and a man who could hit it in the next county at the plate. got something in his wheelhouse. 0-2.
Well, you know, it'll be interesting when Mark Sweeney joins us. Always enjoy his insight on hitting and why hitters struggle. And looking at Stanton, you see the 53 games, only 192. Seems to me he's late with the toe, getting the foot down after the toe tap.
Checks a swing, and it's 1-2.
Seems like he's rushing to the ball. His hands are late, therefore, and kind of breaks down on his backside, and that is not a good formula for successful hitting. You notice the front side here, he'll have the toe tap, and then he'll be late with the foot being down out in front.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Punched out for the 80th time this year. Big strikeout. Bases loaded now, 2 gone.
And this has just got to be eating Giancarlo Stanton alive as he continues to struggle. First pitch breaking ball. High fastball, middle in. It cannot get around on it. Now he's got him right where he wants him. He tries to make him fish, no pun intended, with the breaking ball. He goes right back there. And look at the backside, breaking down. His weight's going all that way. He's late with his hands that way. Boy, it's just a bad combination.
So here's Chris Johnson, the first baseman. Takes a strike. Just had 93 at bats on the year with 22 hits. That comes out at 237. A useful veteran in his days in the big leagues. Ground ball toward the hole. Ramirez with a great stop, but he can't get the ball out of his glove, and a run scores. No, that looked as if he was going to save the run with that play in the hole, but he just couldn't make the transfer and the throw. Infield hit for Johnson, and the Marlins take a 1-0 lead.
And that's why with 2 outs, runners on the base paths, you've got to go hard to each and every base. This could have been one heck of a play in the double clutch. Trying to look at maybe second base for the force, and cannot find the handle. He got the split finger grip. He needed the 4-seam grip. And the Marlins are on the board.
Bases still loaded. Jeff Mathis, the catcher, just 47 at bats, 8 hits. And a 170 batting mark. That leadoff walk has come around to score. A seeing eye single after the walk to Echeverria. Prado single. Another walk to load the bases, and a scratch hit to deep short for Johnson for the Marlins run. That's in there.
Dick, here's why I'm still baffled at that play at first base, because I specifically talked to an umpire this weekend as we take a look at the pitch total. That's a lot of pitches. The running out of the baseline of the runner is a judgment call on the umpire's behalf. So therefore, a judgment call cannot be protested. I'm surprised that the umpires didn't say that to Don Mattingly. No, you can't protest. It's a judgment call.
Well, if they'd have reviewed it, they would have seen that he tagged him on the 2 of his numbers on the back. So he either out that way, or the fact that he left the 3-foot line. And according to the umpire's gesture, Blazer, he called it because he left that 3-foot lane. And now Pomerantz has dug himself into a hole. No place to put Jeff Mathis, and he's worked the count to 3-1. An action by the manager of a team of which he disputes a ruling made on the field by an umpire and seeks a review by the league office. So I guess that covers any
ruling. That's the key word.
A high fly ball to left. Back goes Upton. Does he have room? To the wall. Grand slam. Jeff Mathis, who has 1 RBI all season, has just accounted for 4 with 1 swing, and a miserable start tonight. 5-0 Marlins.
Oh, it looks like a little cutter in, kind of working around that ball a little bit, and didn't get it in enough. Jeff Mathis, talk about good timing. The foot is down, the hands are back, and 1 swing, 4 runs.
Padres hit 4 home runs last night and got 4 runs. Mathis on 1 swing delivers 4. How's that for upping your RBI count from 1 to 5? on the season. Well, both walks have scored. An infield hit has scored. Prado Singh, I single to left, has scored. Mathis in his career has hit 2 other grand slams. His last was also against the Padres 3 seasons ago, in June, in fact. That'll make it into the second deck, just below the press box. Miguel Rojas, he's had only 77 at bats with 20 hits. Of course, there is no protest if that team protesting wins the game. But Mattingly got his way. Ripped to third. That's the hardest hit ball of the inning, but the grand slam had the distance. Jeff Mathis tees it up and drives it into the lower bleachers in left field. And from 1-0, the Marlins enjoy a 5-0 first inning lead. For last night, into the ballpark today, hitterish, and come out with a 5-run first inning against Drew Pomeranz. So uphill climb for the Padres, but a full 9 innings to go. As we check the Padres lineup, and it's brought to you by Toyota. John Jay will lead it off as per usual with Myers Kemp hitting 1-2-3. Melvin Upton slotted in the cleanup position. Alexei Ramirez moved up to number 5. Ryan Schimpf, making his major league debut at third base tonight, will hit 6th in front of Christian Bethancourt. Alexei Amarista in the 8th hole, and Drew Pomeranz at 9th.
Oh, well, what a lead here for Tom Kohler. 5-run first for the Marlins. And his scouting report is brought to you by Scripps. He's got the fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, and he battles. He's a bulldog. Not really, you know, the eye-popping type of stuff from a pitcher, but this guy battles out there.
And he's had good success against the Padres. 3 starts. He's 2-0 with an ERA of 1.80. Shut out the Padres in a game here last summer. John Jay starts it for San Diego and takes strike 1. Andy Green's team trying to prevent their 40th loss of the year. And this would be an exciting comeback. We're going to have to score some runs. 0-2 to Jay. Mentioned he leads the club and is among the leaders in the National League with 20 doubles. By the way, if you like crossword puzzles, New York Times crossword today. Number 23 across, 7-letter word for the author of the Federalist Papers.
Really?
Yeah. And you get the other John, John.
Gotcha.
Actually, I got that, and then that three-letter word for feline gets me every time. Swing and a miss, and the ball gets away from Mathis, who doesn't even go after it.
Dead ball. It hit him. Strikeout.
Jay still goes to first base.
Yeah, that's a dead ball. He swung and missed. That's a strikeout, even though it hit him. He swung, so therefore it's a strikeout.
Now Mark McGuire on the phone to see what the replay shows down in the clubhouse for the Padres. Let's see. He hit him in the back foot.
Yeah, swing and a miss. Hit him. Anytime a ball hits a batter, it's a dead ball, and since there were 2 strikes, swing and a miss, dead ball, hitter is out.
Very good. I mean, good analysis. Will Myers, now with the Padres' top batting average, .287, goes around on the first pitch. 7 home runs in the last 12 games for Myers. That's hot. 14 homers. He's just one behind Kemp. Both Kemp and Myers homering last night. 4 solo shots. That just misses. Here's Myers' clout last evening. Going the opposite way.
Dick, that's had such a great sound to it, and just great swing by Will Myers. He is so big and strong. Foul pole to foul pole. I mean, power to the gaps. Just really being selective right now at the plate.
This month, .391 with 7 home runs and 16 runs batted in. Slugging at .935. 14 home runs, by the way, represents his career best. And we're not even to the halfway mark of the season. He's on the pace to hit over 30 home runs this year. 2-2. Strike 3 called right at the top of the strike zone. And Tom Kohler opens the game by punching out Jay and Myers. A look at the Marlins defense brought to you by the San Diego International Boat Show. Yelich, Ozuna, and Stanton in the outfield. Stanton there and right. On the infield, Prado with slick fielding Echeverria at shortstop, Rojas at second, and Johnson at first. And the home run hitting, the grand slam man, Jeff Mathis behind the plate. Kemp. 15 homers, swing and a miss. He's 3 for 7 against Kohler in previous meetings. Feeling some pressure from Myers for the club lead in home runs and RBIs is Kemp, who has had it his way most of the year. Now leads Myers by only 1 home run, 15-14, and is just 5 runs batted in atop Myers, 43-38.
You see Kohler trying to keep everything away from Matt Kemp.
Good breaking ball. Time now for the Let's Motor player profile, brought to you by BMW Mini. Matt Kemp this month, he like Myers, swinging a hot bat, .353 and a couple of homers. Slugging at .529.
You know the amazing thing about Matt Kemp? He has only 4 walks this year. 4 bases on balls. It's amazing.
That's stunning.
And 2 of them are intentional.
He's up there swinging. That's
He's
what
hacking.
they pay him to do. And Kohler, meanwhile, a pitch away from striking out the side. At the plate, it's foul. Don't forget, fans, tomorrow a day game to close out the 3-game series. 12:40 start. We'll be on the air here on Fox Sports San Diego. Padres Live, the pregame show at high noon. Luis Perdomo gets another start for the Padres against Justin Nicolino of the Marlins. Manager Green very high in the future of Perdomo, and they're going to be very patient with this young man. Got great stuff. Just a matter of growing into a spot as a major leaguer.
He sure does. And can you imagine if that guy going from 5 to 10 pitches where he can locate a fastball, maybe to 8 times out of 10 where he can locate a fastball? He's going to be some kind of nasty.
Full count, and Kemp works Kohler for a walk. first base runner for the Padres, and you talk about the fact he doesn't walk. Right on cue. There he goes.
Base runners laying off the stuff down and away, and turns it over to Melvin Upton Jr.
Upton, one of the 4 men last night, to hit a solo home run, and we were thinking about how odd that is to score only 4 runs in a game, but all 4 on home runs. Here's Upton's.
3-2 count. He got the fastball and let the shillelagh do the work there. Nice, easy swing from Melvin, sending it on its way.
Only the 4th time in Padre history, as you look at Melvin's totals, 240 and 8 home runs, that the Padres have hit 4 home runs in a game and only scored 4 runs. Last time that happened was 9 years ago. Quite an oddity. Upton has not had success against Kohler. He's 1 for 9 and struck out 4 times in their past meetings. Broken bat, soft liner, a limp liner to second. Fielded on 1 hop, and the inning comes to an end on the 4-3 putout. 5-0 Marlins after 1.
Well, we had a late game last night and just starting to doze off the bed. I don't even remember what time it was, 12:30, and our manager, Rod Barajas, called us and immediately just woke the wife up, woke our little baby up, and luckily my parents were there too, so just went and told them the news, said you better book a flight and come with us. So it was definitely a fun moment that I'll never forget.
Oh, the newest face of the San Diego Padres, that's Ryan Schimpf, infielder, got his first career Major League call-up from AAA El Paso, and he's making his debut tonight. Andy Green likes his left-handed bat in the lineup and says, hey, trial by fire, just throw you right in there. He arrived at around 1 p.m. today, and here he is. He's on the field. He was hitting .355 in AAA El Paso with 17 doubles, 15 home runs, and in a corresponding roster move, they designated for assignment backup catcher Hector Sanchez.
So Schimpf has labored in the minor leagues since graduating from LSU, where he was on the College World Series championship team with the Bayou Tigers back in 2009. He signed by Toronto, and perseverance is a virtue, and here he is in the big leagues at age 28.
I love to see guys experience it and get right into the lineup. No time sitting on the bench and gathering those butterflies. Get right into the game. I'd like to see maybe a nice 1 or 2 hopper hit right to him to get those butterflies out of the way.
We got one in the last inning. That was a sharp shot to third. Well, Kohler strikes out swinging to open the second inning here for the Marlins. This is the leadoff man, Echeverria. He walked and scored one of the 5 runs plated by the Fish, as they call him down in South Miami, South Florida. Big swing and a miss, 2-1.
Good changeup from Pomerantz. Behind in the count as well.
So if you wanted to see Ichiro, unless he comes in as a pinch hitter tonight, you had to be here for batting practice. And we're just guessing. But Ichiro being only a hit to tie Rose's total and to pass Pete Rose. And he's only 23 hits away from 3,000 in his major league career here in the States. I'm just guessing that they'd kind of like to have Ichiro get those 2 hits down in Miami because they return home after the game tomorrow for a long homestand.
Good point.
Somebody asked Don Mattingly that question. He said, I don't want to talk about it.
Really?
Yeah.
No comment.
I mean, that decision might have come from a little higher than the managerial position. Full count and a swing and a miss, strike 3. Couple of punch outs for Pomerantz to open the second.
Up the ladder. Looks like a little cut fastball. See how he kind of works around it a little bit, therefore creating that spin. That's really, it's not a curveball spin because we know the grip of the curveball for Drew Pomerantz, and it's not a true slider because it doesn't have that sharp break to it. Just that little bit of movement up and out of the strike zone.
Prado with a key hit in the first inning. That single through the left side. And again, he has the best record of any major league hitter away from home. Starting tonight at .425. Just doesn't like stone crabs. What can I say?
And you know what, Dick? That's one of those stats that I really can't explain. I've talked to coaches, I've talked to managers, talked to players. It's just one of those things you cannot explain.
In the midst of an 8-game hitting streak. Now at 9. And there's another hit. I mean, he's always been a professional hitter.
Wow.
2-out single, sharply struck to the opposite field. That'll bring up Christian Yelich.
It just makes it look so easy. There's the curveball, 12-6 rotation, and Prado just lets that ball come to him. And you know, when a hitter is swinging the bat well, they don't try to pull that big fat pitch that's up. He stayed on that ball nicely. Knob, barrel the bat followed, and there you see, numbers on the road.
And look at his teammate, catcher JT Realmuto, also away from home. Those two make quite a quinella. Slapped foul off the screen.
And the differential between the two, as far as the differences in average.
Yelich, a complete player. They signed him to a big long-term contract. They feel he's part of the Marlins' future. Good with the glove, good with the bat. Grounded to first in the controversial play in the first inning. Forced a protest call from manager Mattingly. 0-2. Same play to the first baseman Myers. Get in that lane. Get in that lane. Make him come to you. Don't let him get away with that stuff. And the inning comes to an end. Use a little humor in this one.
Last night, Travis Jankowski, a very scary moment as he's running out an infield single. There, you see it. That's a sprained right ankle. He ended up coming out of the game with the help of trainers. But miraculously, Andy Green said after the game he was walking around, and Travis credits the training staff for doing immediate work on him. He was here at the ballpark in the training room till about midnight, he said. And then he came in early to get more work done. All of the x-rays came back negative, so they're calling it a grade 2 ankle sprain on the right ankle. But luckily, he was walking around. He did take batting practice, so very good to see him doing so much better, and Andy Green says he should avoid a DL stint, just to give him a couple of days rest.
Well, that's good news, Julie, in this injury-marred season for the Padres. They can ill afford to lose yet another piece of the offense and defense. Ramirez, the veteran shortstop, takes 2-1.
I've seen some gnarly things around that first base bag watching baseball for a long, long time, and when that happened, I thought Travis was going to have much worse happen to him, but thank goodness that it's just that sprain that Julie was talking about.
I mean, you just marvel at the structure of the human ankle and the ligaments taking a complete rollover, all your weight and speed, and yet able to walk off under his own power. Ground ball toward the hole, gloved by the third baseman Prado. Good play. Tonight's cold hard facts are brought to you by Clean, Crisp, Coors Light. And a chance to look at the left-handed hitting Ryan Schimpf. Pacific Coast League leaders, El Paso, 1160 his OPS. That's on base plus slugging percentage. That's not only the best in the Pacific Coast, that's the best in all of the minor leagues.
So what that means essentially that a lot of extra base hits and a lot of home runs added up. Ryan Schimpf, welcome to the big leagues, big boy.
His first major league at bat. Now here's a man you just couldn't ignore hitting the way he has at El Paso. And the reverse move is Julie's already reported. Hector Sanchez has been designated for assignment. 1-1. Not a big man, but he's got home run power. 15 homers, 48 runs batted in, add us 17 doubles. All in just 51 games. And he lines that one for a base hit into the right field corner. Ryan Schimpf's first major league at bat, and he has a double. Now, how about that? Protect that ball, and that will be a treasure. First time up in the bigs and rifles a double into the right field corner.
He turned on this breaking ball very nicely. Good short compact swing. Boy, it had that good sound to it. That's a big league knock.
Brings up Christian Bethancourt. He fouls it away. They're going to have some fun playing with Schimpf's last name because he's from shrimp country down there in Louisiana.
He is, that's right.
And he admits himself, hey, I'm not very big, very tall, but he's built. You see those arms on him. He was walking on air in the clubhouse when we met him earlier today.
I saw him in the dugout before the game, before batting practice. He was looking up into the stands, and I said, hey, welcome to the big leagues, Ryan. He says, wow, this place is pretty cool.
Off the head of the bat, a roller to the second baseman, Rojas, and there's 2 away. Well, here's one captured and video for the rest of his life. Hey, grandkids, come on in here and tell him Grandpa hit the ball back there in 1960. Teammate at LSU of DJ LeMahieu. That's pretty good infield.
Yeah, it is.
So Alexi Amarista, he has just 4 RBIs this season. Here's a chance to pick up one, start carving into that 5-0 Marlin lead. Pitcher on deck, Drew Pomeranz. Low again.
Well, 2 breaking balls in a row. Run around third. You've got the pitcher due up next. Doesn't look like Kohler is giving much to hit to Alexi right here.
Kohler just will turn 30 in a couple of weeks. Born in the Bronx. High school in New Rochelle, New York. And again, you talk about the draft and all the emphasis on that first and second rounds. Here's a man picked in the 18th round. Big league pitcher. As you mentioned, the Stony Brook Seawolves, the same college that brought us Travis Jankowski.
More and more we see guys from Stony Brook.
Good program.
Yeah.
They get a lot of those Long Island kids.
Yep.
Three and two.
Okay, now he's up to 2 strikes because early on, breaking ball, fastball. Threw a wrinkle in that one as well. So, you know what? It wouldn't be a bad idea as a pitcher to throw another breaking ball here. If you walk him, you got to force at second base, and you're facing the pitcher.
Smothered, and the count remains full.
Smothered, covered, and scattered. Hopefully Alexi Amarista can do that, or when Pomeranz comes up to the plate, turn over that lineup to John Jay. Put some pressure on the Marlins.
Schimpf at third with 2 away. And there's a line drive, base hit to left field. A soft liner, and the Padres get a run on Amarista's single. So Schimpf, not only with his first big league hit, scores his first major league run.
Well, Amarista worked this at bat nicely because at first, probably Alexi saying, I'm not going to get much to hit. Well, he worked it full and fought it off. And just out of the reach of Echeverria. And chance for Drew Pomeranz to do some damage.
That rolls the lineup over as well. So now 5-1 Miami. And he's hit one to right center field, but Stanton has a beat on it, and the inning comes to an end. But it's worth replaying as we go to the commercial break. Here is 28-year-old Ryan Schimpf, waiting 7 years for the minors, finally in the big leagues, and he rips a double into the right field corner. Oh my!
Into left center field, hometown hero, goodbye. Center field, hometown hero, goodbye.
Yes, hometown 97 All-Star game played in Cleveland. Hometown hero Sandy Alomar Jr. Bottom of the 7th inning, a 2-run homer gave the American League the 3-1 victory. Alomar, the first player in All-Star game history to win the All-Star game MVP as a member of the host team. Let's hope that is repeated at Petco in mid-July.
That would be nice.
Ryan Schimpf now takes his position there at third as Pomerantz goes to work in the top of the third. Marcell Ozuna, he walked and scored in the first.
Hey, Ryan Schimpf flashing the leather early and then flashing the wood. So far, all good for the rookie third baseman.
Ozuna pops it up, not very high, and hurrying in is Myers to make the play. And here comes Stanton. Batting average since May 7th. I mean, it's just inconceivable. A 112 batting average, on base percentage 202, slugging percentage 204, last in the majors. Can't be.
And it's amazing because remember when he got hit in the face, then he bounced back from that and did quite well. Started off hot, and then all of a sudden, wow, heading south very quickly.
Superman has become Clark Kent. He's already hit the longest home run in the big leagues this year. I mean, he just is incredibly powerful. Backs away from a pitch pretty close to that strike zone.
Seems like the breaking ball down and in is his kryptonite as Barry Bonds watches very closely as Stanton watches for the next pitch.
Ooh, way outside 3-0. Stanton struck out swinging his first time. Chris Johnson to follow here in the top of the third. Miami with 5 in the first, 4 on a grand slam by catcher Jeff Mathis. He's from the San Fernando Valley as Stanton. Went to Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks. And he was recruited as a baseball and football star. I mean, you can just see this is an athlete. And he's young. He's good for 25 or more home runs a year, and he's got 12 this year, just nothing much else. And he takes a walk, and that's the third already from Pomerantz.
MLB.TV Premium. It's the #1 live streaming sports service. Delivers everything you have come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Chris Johnson, infield hit to deep shortstop in that first inning. And that shows you how one little play can make such a big difference in an outcome in the first inning. Ramirez with 2 outs, skidding into the hole, made a good glove stop. Had time to get the force at second, couldn't get the ball out of the glove cleanly, so no play. The inning stays alive, a run scores, and then Mathis comes up and hits a grand slam. There's maybes and ifs in this game. Drive you wacky.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why the course of such a long season, how strong you have to be mentally and emotionally.
Well, look at me. I'm 3/4 nuts. I mean, this game will drive me crazy. And I'll admit it.
What quarter is left? Just, I want a warning, fair warning.
Oh, I think you'll know when it's full on crazy. If you haven't already.
No, that's part of your charm.
Just when we mentioned it last night, just when you think you have this game licked, they'll bring you to your knees in a heartbeat.
Slaps you in the face. Looper caught by the second baseman, back to first, and not in time for the double play. Amarista, that 5'6" frame, had to climb up on that top step of the ladder and able to make the play.
Times it perfectly. That ball slicing off the bat of Johnson, and the quick throw. That's why, as a base runner, freeze on the line drive. It's so hard because natural reaction is you want to go 90 feet.
Here's Jeff Mathis, and the red #5 was the grand slam pitch.
Yeah, it looked like a four-seamer or maybe even a little cutter down and in. Down and in, dropping the head. 4 runs on 1 swing.
His third career grand slam for the 33-year-old Mathis. native of Florida and recruited at Florida State as a football player. 2-0. Well, the Marlins come into the game tonight 7 games out of first place, trailing the Washington Nationals. A couple of games behind the Mets for second place, so having a good season. They're on a 3-stop road trip. They were able to win only 1 of 3 in Minnesota and 1 of 3 in Arizona. But they get the opener last night here in San Diego. And a 4-pitch walk, so he works delicately to Mathis with a grand slam home run fresh in his memory bank. That's now 4 walks from Pomerantz. That can lead to trouble.
And pitching coach Darren Balsley out to have a little chat with Drew just to calm him down a little bit, force it any base.
65 pitches, Mark, to get 8 outs.
You know, talking to Darren last road trip, told me sometimes when a guy is kind of struggling with his delivery, he'll have the pitcher concentrate on getting out in front and spinning the baseball, get extended, get through the baseball towards your target, working down in the zone and working for a good quality strike early in the count, because we all know when a pitcher gets ahead, the chances are it's going to be to his favor.
So first and second on walks, Stanton and Mathis to Miguel Rojas, the number 8 hitter. He had a smash to third, gloved nicely by Schimpf, who threw him out. Close out the first inning.
Looked like a cut fastball there.
One and one. Rojas playing second base. As you know, D. Gordon started the season with the Marlins, a National League batting champion, incredible base stealer, and on a suspension for using a performance enhancing drug. And that really was a kick in the shins to the Marlins. I mean, here you lose the ideal leadoff man.
Yeah.
Rojas filling in as we have others.
And the Marlins 2 games over 500 without the services of D. Gordon and the slumping Giancarlo Stanton. 7 games out in the NL East. In Washington, we know what they're all about. The Mets, their World Series appearance last year, 5 games out.
Washington lost tonight to the Cubs 4-3 in a battle of first place teams. That's softly hit into foul territory, and no chance for Kemp to get over there to make a catch.
What was that I heard the other day? The Cubs are on pace to win 116 games or something like that. Ridiculous.
Hey, that's a good team.
Yeah, they are.
You know what they're starting to say there on the north side of Chicago is that actually they're going to have ball games where a party breaks out instead of a party breaks out and they have a ball game.
Right. That is so true. Of course, the 2001 Mariners won 116 games. Ichiro was a part of that.
1-2.
Pounding him inside here.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. The Marlins leave 2. Both men walked in the third. The Padres coming up, needing 4 to tie. the historic Oakland Country Club, a 116th U.S. Open Championship. Live coverage begins Thursday on FS1, continues through the final round on Sunday on Fox, or you can watch it all live on Fox Sports Go. One of the four majors, the U.S. Open. It's always emotional, the winner on Father's Day, to celebrate the championship of golf, our national championship.
I just saw a golfer. You know what a golfer can do to a golf course?
It's a beautiful.
Have you ever played there, Dick?
Beautiful field. No.
But you've been there, right?
I've been there. It's a magnificent test of golf. Well, the Padres got one back in the second. Let's see if they can keep chipping away here. It's 5-1 Miami. John Jay, then Will Myers and Matt Kemp in the third. Kemp struck out his first time. One and one.
How precious is that? That glove tastes good.
A lot of protein in that leather.
Oh, yeah.
Line to left, and that's a fair ball into the corner. Jay has himself another two-base hit. He rumbles into second with number 21 on the season. And the Padres have that leadoff man on in scoring position, and Jay has done it again.
A two-seam fastball away, and great plate coverage by John Jay. Knob, barrel follows, and inside part of that baseball for the double. Nice easy swing.
Beauty of that Phantom Cam and the side view is that you really get to appreciate a hitter that uses the entire field. Going the opposite way.
Yep.
Lots of money to be made over there. Tony Gwynn told us many a time, didn't he?
He sure did. And somebody who John Jay admires from a long time ago. Number 19.
And so does the man not in the starting lineup tonight. I tried the pickoff move. It's Rojas slipping in behind Jay. Ichiro mentioning how much he admired and studied Tony Gwynn's swing and using the entire field. Myers struck out the first time. Lays off the pitch low and away.
There's a Will Myers fan.
Fouled away. Well, tonight's game, as always, is presented by Sony, the leader of 4K Ultra HD. You know, you don't appreciate, we take it for granted already, HD, and how it's just as spectacular clarity of our pictures now. And then you'll be in a hotel room and they don't have HD, and you'll see what you thought was pretty good color television in the past. You start blinking your eyes. What's wrong with the set? Chop foul.
Have to adjust the rabbit ears.
Yeah. We did that in our day, didn't we?
Get some aluminum foil, like kind of connect them together and get them in the right position.
And then mom and dad say, hold it right there. But how long hold it right there?
I was the remote control in our house. Hey, Mark, change the channel.
Hey, Mark, a little more volume there.
Yeah.
Come on, I can't hear. Jay with his lead, no one out. Padres trailing by 4. Chance to pick up a run here. Swing and a miss, and Myers has struck out for the second time.
Well, Tom Kohler, we've seen the slider, we've seen the fastball and the curveball. So how does he start him off? Slider away. And he's been very selective, Will Myers. That was a pitch that he kind of pulled off and cued. He's trying to work in and out, in and out. Now the curveball puts him away. So a nice sequence of pitches there by Tom Kohler.
And as you could hear, foul tip for the strikeout. One away, unable to move the runner over to third. Situational hitting, and then Myers not able to come through. So here's Matt Kemp, walked the first time. Sitting on 43 runs batted in. Low and away. Kemp must go to bed at night, waking up in the morning, blown away. Breaking ball low and away. Pitch low and outside.
He gets a heavy dose, doesn't he?
And how rare does he get a ball middle in? And for good reason. Another pitch low and away. After Camp, it's Melvin Upton.
Slider away.
Yeah.
All 3 pitches trying to pelt that outside corner at the knees. And once again, it boils down to a pitcher trying to throw it close to the plate to entice that hitter to where it looks like it's going to be a strike. And it's a matter of, Dick, it's a matter of centimeters maybe out of the pitcher's hand. Could be a ball down and away or a hanger over the heart of the plate.
Yeah, we got a ball over the heart of the plate there at the knees and swings and misses.
And the pitch is seen. This is the proof in the pudding right here. 25% of the pitches, that's the hot zone to where the pitchers are trying to get Matt Kemp.
Out of the 9 quadrants, a quarter of them right down there.
And I'll never forget, as a 20-year-old and a teammate of Dusty Baker with the Giants, I'd said, Dusty, what's the toughest pitch to hit in baseball? And he said, without hesitation, the fastball down and away at the knees. There's not much you can do with it. You'll flare it out the opposite way once in a while.
One hopper to the third baseman. Prado looks a runner back, and Kemp has gone 5-3. And Jay still stands at second base. Melvin Upton with a chance to bring in the run. Padres got a 2-out single from Amarista for their first run in the last inning.
And Dick, if you look at the successful pitchers throughout Major League Baseball history, what can they do? They can throw that pitch 8, 9, 10 out of 10 times consistently. And then they can locate the breaking ball where they want it for a strike and then just off the plate a little bit to entice the swing and miss.
The 2 words you hear often in baseball reportage is command and location. And basically they're the same. If you can locate that tough part to hit, then you've got command. Upton takes a strike, and look at that. That's a perfect pitcher's pitch.
And the thing is, you don't have to be overpowering to be successful by doing that.
Well, the figures, it's the pitch farthest away from your eyes. And Kohler now has Upton in the hole, 2 strikes.
Now, as a pitcher, when you're ahead 0-2 and you saw those 2 pitches down and away, correct? The fastball and the breaking ball. So now Melvin's really got to protect. So if you've got good control, you can do so many things. Opens up so many avenues for Kohler. He can go up and in. He can go up here, out of the zone, make him chase. He can go down and away.
And the catcher Mathis was setting up down and away.
Roll over the signs again as you see Mathis flashing the signs.
In the dirt, and there goes Jay, and he'll make it to third. A good walking lead for Jay. Ball didn't get far away from Mathis, but he's able to advance 90 feet easily.
Well, it's definitely a breaking ball. So no cross up, because Mathis, if he got crossed up, he would have went out there and talked to Kohler. Oh, he just came up on it too quickly on that slider. There's the slider. See him come up there right through the 5-hole.
So Jay 90 feet away from making it a 5-2 game. But he chases the ball away, and that's it for the Padres in the third. A leadoff double goes to waste, and we've completed 3 at Petco. Jeff Mathis in the first inning, accounting for 4 of the Marlins runs and a 5-1 lead. As we go to the top of the 4th inning, and of course, much discussion and interest, and especially in Japan, on Ichiro Suzuki, who is now just 1 hit away in his combined career, Japan and here in the major leagues, from tying Pete Rose's total. And of course, adding in the Japanese numbers has created some controversy. I think most sensible folks realize that, I mean, you just can't add on hits from a totally different situation. That'd be like, well, why don't Rose go back and add his minor league hits in the AAA and give him more? So, and I think Ichiro really understands, from all the quotes from Ichiro, he seems to understand that. Nevertheless, just imagine if he had spent his first 7 years in the major leagues, where he might be. I mean, there's no question he's one of the great hitters, is he not, Mark Sweeney?
Yeah, and I think if you look at the body of work for Ichiro, I think everyone knows how talented
it's amazing
he was. Yes, and he's a Hall of Famer when you get down to it. I don't believe you add the numbers. I really don't. It's everything that you've done here. That's the reason why it's called the major leagues. Everyone ranks what the Japanese league is. Some people say AA, maybe a AAA level, but I know one thing: Ichiro is very talented, and he continues to show his talent like last night.
Hitting .350 as a 42-year-old. Well, the man that has the most interest in the conversation, of course, is Pete Rose. Sounds like in Japan they're trying to make me the hit queen. I'm not trying to take anything away from Ichiro. He's had a Hall of Fame career, but the next thing you know, they'll be counting his high school hits. Well, that's well said, Pete.
It's apples and oranges. I mean, I think it's plain as day, because, you know, Dick, I know you've seen. And it was sad in the sports world, but the loss of Gordie Howe.
Yeah.
He played in the AHL, the WHL, the NHL. And I think even those goals, he scored so many goals, you know, they added all up his goals and said, you know, is Wayne Gretzky going to break that?
Right.
And, you know, separate leagues, I think sure, it's great. Like Mark Sweeney said, it's a great accomplishment. But Japan, baseball over there, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah. Well, there have been some cases where players that couldn't make it here in the major leagues in the States go to Japan, and they're big hitting stars. Bouncer up the middle. Ramirez ranging far behind the bag, and to throw out the pitcher Tom Kohler. Continuing with Pete Rose, I don't think you're going to find anybody with credibility that say that Japanese baseball is equivalent to Major League Baseball. There are too many guys that fail here and then become household names there. How about Tuffy Rhodes? How can he not do anything here at 55 diggers over there? Do you
Very
know
valid
Tuffy?
point.
Do you know Tuffy?
It is.
Played against him.
Yeah, and I watched Tuffy Rhodes. He had one opening day for the Cubs where he hit a lot of home runs, and then everything went downhill from there. Ended up getting released from the Cubs, but had a lot of success over in Japan. I just put it this way, and I think it's a great story. It's a great talking point. But you think about the perspective of the impact he's had over in Japan for the guys that are just wondering if they can come over here.
That's Echevarria hitting it deep to center, but Jay, as always, gets a great read on the ball off the bat, and there's 2 away.
You think about what they are doing in their main goal, if they've exhausted the Japan leagues, coming over here to test themselves, and Ichiro has paved the way for them to do that. The impact that he's had on this game, both over here and also in Japan, I think is great. So I love the talking points of this story, and that's a lot of hits.
Let's see, what was he, 28 when he came here?
He spent 9 years for the Oryx Blue Wave.
Yeah.
I mean, 9 years.
And he's 23 hits away from 3,000. I think that's what we should be talking about. This man, after giving up the prime, basically the prime of his career in Japan, is going to collect 3,000 base hits.
Yeah, and he had 10 straight years where he had over 200 hits.
Amazing.
And there's a lot of dominance when you come to that, and I think that goes into the real story, and it is about, is he going to be a Hall of Famer? I think it's a no-brainer.
No question. Prado 2 for 2, speaking of hits tonight. A single through the hole on the left side and a line single to right. How about this swing? He's always been tough to get out.
I've always loved Martin Prado and the way he constructs an at-bat, how he plays the game, how he treats the game. And when he was in Atlanta Braves uniform, I'll never forget, Chipper Jones said when he left the Atlanta Braves, it was not the same clubhouse. The impact he had on certain players and the way he treated the game. That's high praise coming from future Hall of Famer and Chipper Jones as well.
Well, he started tonight at 332. At the moment, he's hitting 338. Foul tip and caught by Bethancourt. And the strikeout to Drew Pomeranz. Bottom of the fourth coming up. 5-1 Miami. Padres baseball brought to you by Sequan Casino. Sign up for the new Padres club card today. By Jack in the Box, taste the Portobello mushroom buttery jack before it's gone. And by Mercury Insurance. We're on a mission to save you money. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com today. So the new Padre is Major League debut, Ryan Schimpf. Number 11, first time up, doubles into the right field corner and scores the Padres' only run so far tonight. And we'll see him again here in the bottom of the fourth inning. He'll follow Alexei Ramirez as the Padres had a chance to pick up another run in the third inning as Jay led off with a double, but Myers, Kemp, and Upton couldn't bring him around. Kohler last year was 11-14 with the Marlins, and that was the high count in both categories, most wins and most losses by a Marlins pitcher. His problem this year has been bases on balls. He's averaging over 5 walks per 9 innings pitched.
Yeah, and Dick, you know what? That's really the confidence, and they've always had the ability on the mound, but he falls in love with certain pitches. It used to be the curveball. Now you're seeing that harder curveball and even implementing that slider, which comes into play. But the ability here is very good. He also has big innings that he gives up, which is really difficult. In years past, that's been his problem. Pitching very well and then all of a sudden having a blow up inning. That happens a lot.
Absolutely. And he's only thrown 92, so he's got to hit his spots.
So 3-1 to Ramirez. And he takes a strike. Well placed. Marlins don't, and of course Don Mattingly's been that way with the Dodgers as well. Not a lot of shifting. And there's a drive into the left field corner. Hooking foul. Just missed.
Now Ramirez saw this so well. He got out just a little bit out in front. That causes it to hook just a little bit and off that fence down the left field line. On our Phantom cam, you can see the contact point just a little bit outside that front foot. But good extension on that pitch. That's the reason why you saw that smile on the way back. He knew he took a good swing.
Back with another payoff pitch. Broken bat. Boy, did he get in the kitchen. Kohler has to hustle and throws in the dirt. Dug out by Chris Johnson. Good play at both ends to deny Ramirez a scratch single.
That's getting in the kitchen right there. And a great athletic move by Kohler. No time for a crow hop. Come up swinging, come up throwing. Nice pick. Oh. There goes the Tupperware. There goes the Calphalon. There goes the Pyrex.
And that also froze Ramirez in the batter's box, who couldn't break out of there at full speed on a close play. So here's Ryan Schimpf. Let's see what he can do after that ringing double, his first major league at bat. Well, again, repeat his numbers at El Paso. Stunningly good. 355 average, 15 homers and 48 runs batted in, 17 doubles in 51 games.
I got to be honest with you. We saw a few games with Ryan in spring training, and I loved how he was competing in the batter's box. Didn't get a lot of at bats, but when he did, he was very productive. Asked Eddie Rodriguez today what's his best position. Probably second base, but very versatile in the infield, and that's something you want, especially when you're a left-handed hitter. I think those numbers at AAA indicate that he's going to drive runs in, a run producer from an infield position. That's pretty good.
Swing and a miss, a little out of the strike zone, and let's go back to his first major league at bat.
Left the curveball down and in, and notice something. This at bat from Kohler is keeping the hard stuff away. The curveball speeding up the bat of Schimpf.
Swing and a miss, and Kohler gets revenge in that at bat, and there's 2 away. 5 strikeouts now for the Marlins right-hander.
The hard slider down and in from Kohler. So as a pitcher, you're thinking to yourself, okay, I threw him the curveball for a strike. It's better of his bat. I'm going with the harder breaking ball towards that back foot for the strikeout.
Bethancourt grounded to second his first time.
Well, 94 action right there.
Well, that was right down the middle. 0-2.
Oh, you saw the big swing on the first pitch, and that's okay. I like the aggressiveness, but then you got to track it in. And when you get a mistake like that, especially with 1 strike, that's when you have to put a real good swing on, because now you're going to get a good breaking ball.
Rips it by the third baseman Prado and into the left field corner. Bethancourt with his speed will easily make it into second base, and the Padres have another double. 2-out, 2-bagger from Bethancourt will bring up Amarista.
Well, really good 2-strike hitting on our Phantom Cam. Watch him track the baseball with his eyes. The mistake by Kohler, and he capitalizes on it.
Yeah,
want to bury that in the dirt, and that was just elevated right by Prado, the third baseman.
Totally missed his mark because Mathis was set up down and away.
Third double this season for Bethancourt. Third double by the Padres of their 4 hits tonight. 3 for 2 bases. Amarista knocked in a run with a soft single over shortstop back in the second. Chance to pick up another RBI. Pitcher Pomerantz would be next. Change up 1-1. Well, after the Marlins leave town after the day game tomorrow, it'll be the Washington Nationals here Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday before the Padres go on the road to Baltimore and Cincinnati. Chance to see the first place Nationals over the weekend. On the corner at the letters 1 and 2. Line to right, and that's going to fall. Bethencourt comes around to score. Amarista puts on the brakes on a long single. Alexei, 2 for 2 and 2 RBIs. It's a 5-2 game.
Well, the Padres here, how about some two-strike hitting and hitting some mistakes? Bethencourt, the breaking ball, the hanger. Alexei gets a little spinner.
Yeah, pretty good play by Stanton on the back end. That gets by him. That's at least 2 bases for Amarista, but nice hitting by Amarista.
So 5-2 as the Padres whittling away at that early 5-0 lead. Marlins scoring 5 in the first inning. Pomerantz lined out to right his first time. He takes some pretty good swings. 1-1. $75 pitches now for Kohler, and he's not out of the 4th inning yet.
He's good for about 105, 115.
Amarista has had some success this year. Didn't steal many bases last year, but he has 5 this year.
Well, not really a running situation, especially with that pitcher up in Pomerantz.
Oh, gets a call, does Kohler. It's 1-2.
Hey, and as a pitcher, I've got no problem with that. Just give it to me when I'm out there.
Really?
Both ways now.
Really?
And a swing and a miss. 6 strikeouts for Kohler, but the Padres with 2 outs. Bethencourt double and an RBI single from Alexei. Game break in Washington tonight, 9th inning. Man at second, Russell, and just called up Albert Almora Jr. brings in Russell, and that's the winning run, 4-3. Battle of first place teams, and the Cubs prevailed 4-3 against the Nationals. And it's time now for greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Jamison Talion. Now the Pirates a 4-0 win against the Mets. Josh Donaldson, boy, every time you look up, he's getting extra base hits as the Blue Jays club the Phillies 11-3. And Trevor Story, another home run for the rookie for the Rockies, 17 now in the season, as Colorado beaten up on the Yankees 12-3.
That kid from Pittsburgh, Talon, tell you what, doing it in the Big Apple, that's good for him.
Yeah, and they brought him back because of Garrett Cole going on the disabled list.
Pomerantz goes back to work here in the top of the 5th inning, now trailing 5-2. That's a foul ball off the bat of Yelich with Ozuna and Stanton to follow for the Marlins.
How about Josh Donaldson today? Starts the day off with 2 doubles, and then he comes up for his 3rd at bat, cranks out a grand slam.
I've started the day off with a couple doubles.
And there was a slam in there too, but I don't think it was grand. You'll never learn. Yelich, identical plays, has hit a soft roller to the first baseman Myers, one to create a controversy in the first inning, and Don Mattingly has played the game under protest on the call by first base umpire Corey Blazer, as Yelich sliding into foul territory, reaching back for the bag. He also, by our replays, Myers tagged him on the back, so it's confusing at best. Well, here's the play. And now you can help us with this, Mark Sweeney.
Well, I think it's that right foot. You see that right foot going out of the baseline and then sliding. That's a reaction of the first base umpire, in my estimation. But I don't know why it took so long to even deal with that. Obviously, Don Mattingly was very passionate about that.
And a good debater, Grover Kahn. He got his say as Yelich goes chasing, and that's a half dozen strikeouts now for Pomeranz.
Hey, good pitch. And when you get ahead and you throw the breaking ball early in the count, well, and then you can throw it and you can bury it because they know that it might be a strike. Puts him on the defensive, and a nice block by Christian Bethancourt.
Marcell Ozuna walked and scored, one of the men that came home on the grand slam by catcher Jeff Mathis, and popped to first, and he pops this one high into right center, and that's got some depth. Kept going to the wall, and just enough room, 2 away. Ozuna searching for his 13th home run of the season, just a little shy of the wall and right.
Well, we all know that there's a lot of space out there. Matt Kemp tracking there. Watch that right hand as you young players out there just trying to feel for the wall, understanding he's got plenty of room. Nice play by Matt Kemp. That's the fundamentals that you want to do, especially when you get back out there on the warning track.
And here's Stanton in the throes of a 2.5-month slump. Remarkable what's happened to this power hitting outfielder of the Marlins. He struck out and walked tonight. A modest shift on. Broken bat. Foul ball.
Well, Mark, you said a really good thing earlier in the game and about breaking down his backside. It's happening because he is late to the baseball. And you think about what's happening. Everything has to move, and he likes to move all of his weight forward. You see that front foot, it is not taking on all of that leverage. It's broken down on the front side, which breaks down on the backside, but he moves through the baseball very well. And when you're late to a baseball, then you see that collapsing motion. It's because you're trying to get behind again. He's just not timed up correctly. Everything's not in sync. There's mechanical issues, but I wonder mentally where he's at as well.
1-1. So how do you correct the problem?
Well, you start early, because when someone breaks their hands, as we see Barry Bonds, the hitting coach, also Frank Manachino, hitting coach as well, trying to get him back on track. You start early by when the pitcher breaks the hands, it's when you go.
That one whistled on a line all the way to the wall, and Stanton will head for second and a double and take a turn, and the Padres get the ball in, and a 2-out double for Stanton. You see the kind of power he has. That's a low line drive that goes all the way to the wall.
Well, the breaking ball, and you see the elevated breaking ball, he sits on that mechanically much better, but you see that backside still breaking down. But that contact position is back just a little bit. Track it with your eyes. When you're early, you can see it longer. And you know this ball's coming off the bat hard when he squares it up. Easy double for Stanton.
So a 2 outs brings up Chris Johnson, the first baseman, an infield hit, knocked in a run, the first run of the game, in fact. Left the bases loaded for Mathis in his grand slam. He lined to second the second time up.
Well, there's the hit speed, 111.1. Last year, he's the fastest hit speed in 2016, 123.9.
Come on.
That's coming in hot.
Yeah, it is.
Sent him to the Indy 500.
That's why I love the outfield.
Swing and a miss. 1-1. Now, for you fans at home, bat speed, that means they're able to register the speed on contact. When contact's made, it's coming off the bat. Up to 123, you say?
That's hot.
A ball and a strike to Johnson. Low and inside at 92 on the fastball. And Pomerantz's pitching count closing in on 100. That 35 pitch first inning when the Marlins scored all 5 runs. Takes out a lot of fuel out of the tank.
Yes, he did. Mark, don't you think he went?
No.
Come on.
Fan of Cam?
Oh, I guarantee you he went. Look at that.
You look at it.
Oh my goodness gracious. He just got a free swing. Free. 4 strikes.
3-1 now. Swing and a miss. That's not strike 3 then, huh? It's only 3-2.
No, he got an extra strike.
Yeah. So, you know, they ought to have a seminar before the game, you and the umpires. And teach them how to call that check swing
and you know what? There's nothing written in the rule book about the check swing. It's all a judgment call.
It is.
They must have all missed that day.
So 3-2. Stanton out at second with 2 outs here in the 5th. Watch out. That ball just wide of the third base dugout. Johnson unhappy with himself. He didn't put a better time swing on that last one. Back to the full count. And the 100th pitch of the game for the lefty Pomeranz. And he walked him. 5 bases on balls. Pomeranz.
Well, you think about Giancarlo Stanton and all the things that he goes through. Well, on the left, he has that face guard because he was struck in the face in Milwaukee. And now you can see Stanton not using that, wondering where he is mentally, if that factors into it. But you're wondering what's going on. And we talk about mechanics all the time. During the game, you have to let what you worked before the game work for you and make adjustments after the game. All the good ones do that. Trust that process that you go through and your work that you're putting in.
Well, Pomeranz trying to close out this 5th inning. 2 on 2 on. Hold the Marlins with a 3-run lead. And here's the man who's done the dire damage. Mathis with a grand slam homer in the 1st inning. He walked the last time.
So that's why I'm in favor of an electronic strike zone. That last curveball was a strike, according to Fox Tracks.
Check swings, strikes off the plate.
See, look at.
You look at it. You've said that plenty of times to me tonight.
Boys, boys, boys.
I know, we're fighting, aren't we?
1-1.
I love it. That's what's great about baseball. You get 10 people in a room, you get 12 different opinions.
Carlos Villanueva tuning up in the Padre pen.
You do want the electric strike zone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you can't do that. Please don't do that. Wait till I'm gone. Wait till, you know, when they after you do the eulogy, then go to your strike zone and then bring out the robots. Don't even have players. Just bring robots out to hit and pitch and run. And
that's going to be interesting.
2-1. Big pitch. Sharply hit, but right to Ramirez. The flip to second, and the inning comes to an end. Marlins leave 2. We're at the halfway mark in this one. 5-2, Miami. Diego, fans of the game here at Major League Baseball game in downtown San Diego.
What smiles. Love seeing kids at the ballpark.
And the beauty is some of those kids can be in their 70s and 80s.
Yes.
You know, it brings out the boy in you.
It does.
Who's happier, dad or son? Now the Padres, after the 5-0 early bombing on the Mathis Grand Slam, have picked up singletons in the 2nd and the 4th inning, and they entered the bottom of the 5th inning trailing 5-2. Top of the order, John Jay. Well, we came back from Dallas. We were there for the last couple of nights, and I've been the spokesperson for the Academic All-America Hall of Fame for, well, I guess about 30 years now. It's one of the proudest things that I'm able to do, that to be involved with athletes who are the creme de la creme of college athletes. They're not only outstanding players, but they're outstanding in the classroom as well. And then after 10 years, they qualify for the Hall of Fame. And there's only 45 members in the Hall of Fame. We inducted 5 last night. And one of them was Drew Brees.
Wow.
I've never seen a more impressive performance by an athlete in front of 800, 1,000 people there. And he talked a little bit about his career, but talking about the responsibility an athlete has to his community.
Yes.
And what he has done. There's a drive into right field. That could be big trouble. That ball's in the Petco porch. No, it bounces back out, and Jay will have to settle for a double. Doesn't that figure? He is the doubles machine, so why go for a home run? That's his 2nd double tonight. Almost looked like that went in and out just off the top of that screen barrier in front of the Petco porch.
Once again, it looked like a pitch, an off-speed pitch in, and see where it hits right off the grate, right there. And it bounces back into play. Let's take a pitch. It's a slider. Boy, he got to that pitch quickly, and getting those hands through quickly to keep it fair. That ball got out there in a heartbeat.
A 22nd double this season, right among the major league leaders. And how about the 2 doubles tonight? He doubles into the left field corner, then doubles down the right field line. How about using the entire field? Myers has struck out both times, and he pops this one up into shallow right, and the second baseman Rojas out to collect it, and there's one away. Time now for the tools of the trade, brought to you by Ram Trucks.
Well, we're going to go back to Will Myers in his home run yesterday against Wei Yin Chen. There's a couple elements that you like to see. Eyes on the release point. You got to see the ball out of the hands, and then being able to swing. You have to have a weight transfer. When you have a weight transfer, that front foot has to be down and has to take the brunt of that weight, and then the balance on contact. You see those eyes draw a straight line down through that back leg. Will Myers is getting the job done, especially in June.
Meanwhile, the Padres with their 4th double of their 6 total hits in the game. Jay doubled to lead off the 3rd inning, and the Padres couldn't bring him around, or couldn't even get him to 3rd. Well, they got there on a wild pitch eventually.
Now, Mark Sweeney, I just discovered something, and I want your insight after this pitch, because we've talked hitting. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Will Myers was so balanced and kind of spun, keeping that weight between nose, belt buckle, center of his body. In contrast to what Giancarlo Stanton is doing, he's drifting and his hands are dropping, his backside is breaking down. Totally different. Will Myers is doing exactly what he should be doing.
Yeah, and he's locked in, and that's really the body of work that you have when your base and your lower half of your swing, your legs break down. It really takes you into a space where those numbers are going to continue to go down. Yes, you saw Stanton have a successful one against a breaking ball.
Snap throw from his knees, Mathis, all the way out to second baseman Rojas, but Glenn Hoffman, the third base coach, screaming out, "Get back."
Well, when things break down, especially with your legs in the lower half, you're going to get a lot of foul balls. You're not going to feel connected with both your upper half and your lower half, and that really puts you in a bad position. Will Myers is doing the opposite of what Giancarlo Stanton is right now.
Matt Kemp trying to pick up that 3rd run of the night, and he pops it up. That might make it to the crowd. First baseman Johnson over to the dugout, and the catcher Mathis can't make the play. Now that's a very difficult task. You're running out of room. You're coming right into that mouth of the dugout. You don't want to go falling down the steps, and in fact, if you do, It's no play.
Oh, you're not going to get any help, especially going over the visitor. He has to elude all of the guys in the batting circle, and you see the weights, all of the bat. That's all kinds of stuff. Looks like a yard sale over there.
Yeah.
And Mathis ends up missing that one.
Yeah, he actually stepped right on one of those weighted tubes. So that's a break for the Padres. Kemp gets another swing, 1-2. Bounces it. Matt walked in the first inning, grounded to third his last time. Melvin Upton on deck.
I've seen some breaking balls in the dirt, and you know that slider most likely is going to come to Matt Kemp. If you're the base runner on second base, John Jay, look for a ball in the dirt you could possibly advance.
I think Kohler, that is, has resorted to more of the sliders recently than that curveball. There's a curveball there.
Count stays at 2-2. Five to 2 Marlins, but the Padres picking up single runs. Second and fourth, and a chance for another here in the fifth. Low and away, and a full count. Fastball 45%, Mark Grant.
You see the curveball, a couple of them, he's thrown some really good ones, and the slider got ripped down that line by John Jay 38% of the time. Changeup, very few times, only 3%.
So meeting at the mound between the battery of Kohler and Mathis. And right now you're Matt Kemp. I mean, you got to be thinking, you got a fastball on that last pitch for ball 3. Now what do you think?
Well, this isn't a time when you have to sit on something. For Matt Kemp, he's got to cover that slider on the outside part, but also be quick enough in case he throws that fastball that he threw to Ramirez the last time up.
That's what I'm guessing, Mark. I'm guessing slider down and away. The shorter breaking ball, hard breaking ball down and away.
And there it is, strike 3 swinging. Kemp fans for the second out, and again it's up to Melvin Upton.
Well, let's take a look at the swings. We touched about Giancarlo Stanton and also Will Myers. Will Myers on the left, and you watch this front side. That is dipped right down and being able to handle that weight transfer. Now, when you look at this on the right side, Giancarlo Stanton, that wide stance, but this breaks down right here on that front side. And you see not swinging particularly well because of that lower half. You see it breaking down and not having that weight transfer that's braced with that front foot.
Ground ball, easy 2-hopper out to Rojas, and for the second time tonight, Jay leads off an inning with a double, and the Padres can't take advantage. 5-2 Miami. First inning, the Marlins had scored 1, and then Jeff Mathis came up with the bases loaded and a grand slam, 5-0. Marlins lead. Ryan Schimpf, his first major league at bat, rifles a double into the right field corner. And he would come around on Alexi Amarista's single over the shortstop Ramirez's head, or Echeverria's head. And then Alexi again with a man in scoring position, drives in the second Padre run as he brings in Bethancourt, who had doubled in the inning, and that's where we stand, 5-2. Tom Kohler, who's been tough on the Padres in his career, allowing 6 hits in 5 innings, 4 of them doubles. Pomeranz 5 hits in 5 innings, but the one big blow, the grand slam by Jeff Mathis. And Ryan Schimpf up from El Paso with a double and a run scored in his first big league game as Carlos Villanueva comes in out of the bullpen. And our pitching change brought to you by El Cajon Ford. Pomeranz threw 104 pitches, Mark.
Well, the last time for Carlos was back on the 10th against Colorado, 4 days, and we know all about Carlos. He's that swing guy. He can go middle, he can go for a hitter if he wants, he can spot start. Only about 88, 89. He's got the fastball. He's really got to mix up that curveball, the breaking ball, slider, changeup. Just about keeping him off balance, right, Mark Sweeney?
You know what I love about Carlos is that he gives you different looks. He gives you different shapes of the breaking ball, and he's not predictable when it comes to breaking balls or any pitch. When it's 2-0, he'll throw the changeup, he'll throw the curveball, any variety of pitches.
Slow roller, and Schimpf charges and throws him out. How about the line, pitching line for Pomeranz? 5 innings, 5 runs, 5 earned runs, 5 hits, 5 walks, and 5 + 1 strikeouts. Total of 6.
Got a game break coming up from Copper Square in downtown Phoenix. Dodgers, Diamondbacks, NL West coming at you. Hey, Candy.
Tom Kohler, the pitcher, of course, hitting 9th, a strikeout and a ground ball to short tonight. He's 1 for 21 with a bat this year. But he lines that right to Ramirez. In quest of his second hit, but the glove of Ramirez stands in the way. 2 gone. That'll bring up leadoff hitter Danny Echeverria. He's walked and scored, struck out and fly to center.
Hey, every pitcher needs one of those once in a while. The ball gets squared up right at him. It's an atom ball. Right at him.
Just to follow up on the event, which was a mighty inspirational evening last night on Drew Brees. What number does Drew Brees wear for the New Orleans Saints?
Number 9.
You know why?
I do
His
not know
favorite
why.
player? Ted Williams.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. He's a
Interesting.
big baseball fan, and
I
like
knew
yours
that.
truly, Ted Williams, and he always admired him, tried to be like him as I did, and he wears number 9 in tribute to the Thumper. Oh, he came up right away. So, hey, splendid Splinter, are you kidding me? And here's another little nugget last night. Roger Staubach was there, and he kindly accepted what is called the Enberg Award. And I didn't realize that Roger at the Naval Academy started all 4 years in center field in baseball for Navy.
I did not know that either. Wow. Was he a good hitter?
He hit 420 1 year, and the 4 years averaged well over 300. He said and they brought him in to do a little relief pitching now and then. I said I had a decent arm. Yeah, I guess so.
I'll tell you what, we had him on the air years ago back at Qualcomm Stadium. He was there for an event. And I tell you what, for a guy with that star power and a classy guy and just a man of the people and just a regular guy, I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah. No, he's just so calm and collected, but really competitive, obviously.
Yeah.
1-2 the count. I may not have time, but then their intersection of Brees and Staubach crossed last night, and they told a story of Brees when he went to his first game at Wrigley Field, Chicago, as a senior at Purdue. Box seats with his fiancee, now his wife. High fly ball, do it would happen. And when it comes down, it'll be an Upton's glove for the out. We'll continue the story when we return. It's the Marlins 5, the Padres 2 here at Petco. Today marks happy birthday. The United States Army is 241 years old. USAA honors those who have served in the U.S. Army and all of our service members around the world. And of course, Old Glory at half-mast for that heinous tragedy in Orlando, Florida. And this also is the anniversary, this April 14th, 1777, when Congress designated the Stars and Stripes as our national flag. White stars on a blue field represent a new constellation, and a high fly ball deep into the right field corner, but not deep enough, and Stanton puts it away. Alexei Ramirez gone. That'll bring up the major league debut of Brian Schimpf. And just to finish on that thought, of course the Stars represent the number of states, 50 now, but was 13 initially in 1777, and the red for the heartiness and valor, and the blue for the vigilance and perseverance of this newborn country. And we should remember how, as we salute that flag and honor it, what it represents. But what a group of men that was back in 1776.
You know, I always throw out the old, if I could jump in the time machine.
Schimpf hits that one high in the air, but it's off the end of the bat in shallow right center. It's going to not drop as Ozuna runs it down. Flirting with a possible blue pit, denied, but satisfied at least with a double in his first big league at bat.
If I could go back in time and be in that room when they drew up that Constitution, and all of us had to agree on it, whatever, and it was like, oh gosh, what did we just do?
And there was some fighting going on. And how brilliant that group of men was. And you think about, they drew up a Constitution that we live by to this day.
Exactly.
Bethancourt doubled after he grounded out the first time and scored a run in the fourth inning on Amarista's RBI single. Alexei down in that 8th spot in the batting order has knocked in both Padre runs with singles. 0-2. 96 pitches now for Kohler. Low and away. Slider 1-2. 5 runs, 5 hits for the visitors. 2 runs, 6 hits for the Padres.
Well, made a mistake to Bethancourt the last time with a breaking ball with 2 strikes. See if he goes to that fastball away.
Swing and a miss, and Kohler has his 8th strikeout. Completing 6 innings here at Petco, and the Marlins still lead by 3. It's the Dodgers in Arizona, and Justin Turner breaks the 3-3 tie with a home run in Arizona. And that's not all in the 6th inning. Following Turner's home run, Jock Peterson, he goes deep. And currently the Dodgers lead 7-4 in Arizona, top of the 8th inning. Dodgers starting the day's activity 6 behind San Francisco, Colorado 8 back, then Arizona 10.5, and the Padres 13 back of the Giants. Giants leading 2-1 in their game. Colorado has won tonight. As we go to the top of the 7th, Martin Prado, 2 hits and a strikeout. Back in the first inning, it started poorly for Drew Pomeranz. He walked the leadoff man Echeverria. Prado singled through the hole on the left side. And after 1 out, Ozuna walked to load the bases with 1 away. And they struck out Stanton, almost out of it. And then a very key play, innocent enough in the box score. Chris Johnson hit a ground ball deep to short. Ramirez made a good play, gloved it, couldn't get it out of his glove and make the throw to second. So it was an infield hit. Run scored. And then the next man up, Jeff Mathis, hit a grand slam home run. And suddenly Marlins were up 5-0. 1-2 to Prado. The Padres getting an RBI single from Amarista in the second, another in the fourth. And that's where we stand, 5-2, top of the 7th. Villanueva, his second inning of work, retired the side in order in the last inning. Foul back. So I'll tell the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Staubach and Breeze. And first of all, Breeze saying, you know, he grew up, one of his heroes, you know, he grew up as a Texan in Austin and Dallas Cowboys, Roger Staubach. And so he just admired him and had great affection for Staubach, but had never met him. So he goes to Wrigley Field, his first time to Wrigley, and he's sitting behind home plate with his honey. And that'll be out of play and time to have a hot dog. And what do you have with a hot dog? He said, I had a beer. You know, I was 21. He said, I had a beer and it tastes pretty good, so I'll have another beer. So he said, I'm really feeling good. And about the 4th inning, an usher comes down and says, Roger Staubach is here today. They've asked him to sing Take Me Out in the 7th inning at Wrigley, right? And he wants you to come up and meet him. And Bree says, I'm trying to pull myself together. I'm going to meet Roger Staubach for the first time. They take him upstairs. 1-2, and another foul. And Staubach, he says, Staubach invited him to sing with him, Take Me Out to the Ball. So he just meets Staubach. Now he wants him to sing the song. So he tells that story. And he said, you know, he didn't want to embarrass himself, having a good time at the ballpark. Then Staubach comes up and he tells the story from his side. He said, when I was a youngster, my music teacher said, whenever the choir is singing, just move your lips. Don't use your voice. You're terrible. He said, so I'd never forgotten that. Another foul. Thank you, Mr. Prado. And so when he invited Breeze up to sing, he just needed somebody who could carry a tune.
Right.
And he said, I just kind of moved my lips to him and did a little hum there. And Breeze wound up going to the ballpark to see the Cubs, met his hero, Staubach, and winds up singing Take Me Out to the ball game.
That's a good day at the ball yard right there.
Oh, man. Rubbing shoulders with the people last night. I just was so inspired.
And you come to find out that they're really just like us in a way, you know?
But, you know, when it's an automatic, I mean, you young people out there that, you know, you're good athletes and study hard, the academic All-Americans of today, they're automatically going to be stars in the community. They're automatically, I mean, the qualities that go into being a star in both the arena and the classroom, it's a can't miss. And then to see the best of the best, the creme de la creme, is just very emotional. Didn't go. Quickly another, Angelo Capozzi. He's my era, 1950s, pitched at Notre Dame. They told him when he went to Notre Dame, it was always his dream because in his youth on the radio up at top of the refrigerator was the radio, and you listen to Notre Dame football on Saturdays. Oh, I want to go there someday. And he got a scholarship to go to Notre Dame in baseball. And they told him when he entered, they looked at his entrance scores, a little flip into right field. Amarista runs it down. Good play by Alexi. They said, don't take science. He said, but I want to be a doctor someday. Here's another look at Amarista as he operates well. And so Angelo Capozzi does get his medical degree. And listen to this. He decided after his residency in San Francisco that he wanted to help children with the cleft palate and cleft lip.
Right.
Listen to this. Now he's 7. He's older than I am. He's 84. He has operated on 19,000 children around the world.
Talk about changing lives.
I mean, how great is that?
Yeah. That's amazing.
So, anyway, how blessed I am to keep in such noble company. Here's our attendance tonight, 22,051. Tomorrow, room for you here, day baseball. Goodness, about time the Padres won a day game, huh? We'll be on at noon here on Fox Sports San Diego, 12:40 first pitch. Luis Perdomo against Justin Nicolino of the Marlins. Yelich grounded twice to the first baseman unassisted, won the controversial play in the first inning, and on that Mattingly protested, and he struck out the last time.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and description of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
Bullpen busy for the Marlins. Kyle Bearclaw getting loose. Line foul. That ought to bring a smile to Mark Grant's face. We may see a Bearclaw in the game.
And yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is how you pronounce his last name, Bearclaw. A couple of Bearclaws, please.
There he is. Spelled B-A-R-R-A-C-L-O-U-G-H. You need to have broad shoulders to get that name on your jersey. Skipped in, and the count goes full to Christian Yelich.
So it's a battle of bullpen names. Quackenbush and Bearclaw. Villanueva is up there as well.
Salty has the longest surname.
Saltalamacchia.
Is that 14 letters? Lined, watch out. Villanueva almost undressed with that shot back through the box. And Yelich aboard on the Marlins' 6th hit of the game.
Talk about hockey suit. Shot from the blue line coming in hot.
Right under his foot. And that would have been a hot foot.
Boy, that got by him in a hurry.
So Ozuna with one out, a man on. Has walked and scored, popped up and flied out to deep right the last time. 11-game hitting streak snapped last night. 19 hits collected by the Marlins, but Ozuna didn't get a piece of the pie. Leads the team in runs scored and tied with Stanton in home runs with 12. And he leads in RBIs 37. Having a good season. Always with terrific promise, this young man from the Dominican Republic, and they had to send him down the minor leagues, kind of a little discipline, just to say, hey, you got to take this game more seriously. You got too much talent. Bear down. And he learned his lessons. High fly ball, deep left center. Jay tracking, and makes the play. All the way to second is Yelich. Here comes the relay, but no throw. How about Jay intersecting that drive? He ran a country mile. That's when you hang the star on. Look at, he was in right center field. That's a beautiful piece of outfield play.
That is a big league play. I'll be quite honest with you. When that ball was struck and you saw where John Jay was playing, I didn't think he had a chance to catch that ball. Boy, he gets a great jump on that ball off the bat.
A couple of doubles with the bat, and he just took a double away from Ozuna. and maybe a run. Here's Giancarlo Stanton, struck out, walked, and hit a low line drive double to left center his last time. Shift on. Boy, the room between Myers at first base holding the runner and Amarista way over on the shortstop side. That's just got to be so tempting.
We just witnessed highway robbery by John Jay. Somebody call the cops. Run like the wind, bullseye.
He just gets such a fantastic jump.
Doesn't he, though?
He's not the fastest center fielder. Ground ball up the middle. Amarista playing on the shortstop side. Throws out Stanton. And the inning comes to an end. But the crowd will come to its feet on that first base side as Jay runs to the dugout. An outstanding play. A reach, slide, and grab and deny. A beauty by John Jay. San Diego presents Padres Baseball, brought to you by Petco, your complete pet store. By USAA, insurance, banking, and investments tailored for the military community. And by your San Diego County Lexus dealers. Well, the game has had a grand slam home run and a highlight defensive play by center fielder John Jay. As we move to the home half of the seventh inning and a 5-2 Marlins lead, all 5 runs in the first inning. And Alexi Amarista, first time up, sends a soft single over short. That brought home Ryan Schimpf, the rookie, making his first major league start scores. And he brought in another run with this single. That was Bethancourt scoring after he had doubled. And look who is in the on-deck circle after what we thought might be a DL injury last night. Travis Jankowski apparently is going to pinch hit.
Well, it was nice to see Travis last night. Sure, he was getting helped off by a little bit by the trainers, but it was mostly under his own power, which was a great sign after twisting his ankle hitting the bag.
So starter Tom Kohler goes 6 innings, allows 2 runs, earns 6 hits, 1 walk, and that's key. He'd been giving up an average of 5 walks per 9 innings, and he struck out 8. That ties his career best. Amarista taking all the way, 3-0. trying to get on there, start something here in the home half of the 7th.
Bearclaw, 3-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider, changeup, mid-90s. Get up to 98. They got some live arms in that Marlins aquarium out there.
Yeah, but a 4-pitch walk gets it going for the Padres. And here is Travis Jankowski. Well, he misses by 1 inning, batting against his alumni mate, Tom Kohler, the starting pitcher, also going to Stony Brook. Jankowski, that ankle's got to be a bit tender, but trying to keep this thing going in the 7th inning with a top of the order John Jay with a pair of doubles due to hit next. Squares and takes a strike. Pinpointed on that outside corner at the knees. Runner goes low. The throw by Mathis, not even close. Amarista has his 6th steal of the season.
Yeah, I think that showing of the bunt. Well, I know that showing of the bunt by Jankowski in the first pitch will just kind of disrupt the timing of Bearclaw, as the second pitch is a breaking ball, and Amarista easily steals the bag. The big leg kick, the throw down to second base, as you can see, not even close.
3rd time tonight, Mark, that the Padres have had a man at second with no one out to start an inning. Jay with 2 doubles to lead off inning, but they couldn't bring him around. Now it's a walk and a steal as good as a double. 1-1 now to Jankowski, and now he's all the way to the backstop, and the wild pitch will place Amarista at 3rd. Boy, Bearclaw on the wild side here, walks the first man on 4 pitches, and now he's wild pitched him over to 3rd.
Not even close. Wants it away, yanks it down and in.
Infield, with exception of 3rd baseman Prado, will play back. That's a strike. 2-2. Ground ball to the right side, and the Padres cut the lead to 5-3. There it is. Foul ball, just missed the bag at first base. Amarista will return to 3rd base. Almost kicked up that white paste.
Yep.
Nick Lentz, the umpire at first base, been busy tonight. Swing and a miss. So Jankowski goes down swinging. 1 away. And John Jay. Strikeout and a pair of doubles. And using the whole field. How about this artistry with a bat? Go the other way. Left field for a double.
When we talk about hitters who are foul pole to foul pole, the fastball the opposite way, the breaking ball, almost hitting it right into the porch off the grate at the top of the wall.
And he's been tough all season long with runners in scoring position. Now with 1 out, doesn't need a hit to get a run in. Hitting .417 with runners in scoring position. And he falls behind 0-2. Infield's conceding the run. High and away. 96 on the fastball.
Yeah, he's got a good arm. We saw Ellington last night in the 8th inning for the Marlins. He's got a live arm as well.
Ooh, protective swing, stays alive.
That's great bat control right there, don't you think, there, Dick? Because it wasn't even a swing with his bottom half. It was all upper body. We're just kind of flicking that bat out there to follow it off and get another shot at it.
If you're taking a full-fledged cut, then you might miss that ball entirely.
Right.
Now he gets a chance to try to hit a ball he can handle. Well, goes around on a ball in the dirt. Mathis checks the runner at third, throws him out at first. Oh, it's almost a jinx. The Padres get a man at second in an inning and no one out, and they can't get him around. And it falls on the shoulders of Will Myers, who's had a tough night tonight. 2 strikeouts and a pop-up.
Well, Bearcat went to the breaky ball.
Wouldn't hold back.
Yep.
Yeah, Amarista has seen the wildness of the right-hander on the mound, so you got to be alert to try to break for the plate. Should another one get away. Oh, Myers has had the hot bat. It's been cold tonight. Ooh, what a breaking ball. That had Myers bending away.
And you know the competition is tough when it comes to all-stars, as Kevin Quackenbush is heating up for the Padres, but Will Myers having the first half he's having. Not a bad idea. Hey, if you're a Will Myers fan, get out and vote for Will Myers.
1-1. That was a tight call.
You know, you've got
Padres.com.
Yeah, you've got Padres.com to get on. You've got competition like Paul Goldschmidt, Adrian Gonzalez. Sure, it's tough, but hey, every vote counts.
Line to right field, a soft liner that's falling and into the glove of Stanton. Oh, my second and third with no one out, and they can't get him home.
John Jay or Bill Howe playing the game?
Well, first step, he goes a long way, actually playing him in deep center, and the awareness at the wall, that's what's some kind of special for John Jay. He patrols center field, knows exactly where he is at all times.
Well, as Mark Grant pointed out, he went a long way, got a great jump on that ball. When Mark and I see on Padres Live, the postgame show, which will be brought to you by Cox Communications, you're going to hear from both managers tonight, Don Mattingly and Andy Green, and we have a preview of SD Live, which will follow our postgame show immediately. Our special guest this evening is Derek Norris. He's going to talk all about the trials and tribulations of the 2016 season and how he hopes things will turn around and quickly. Now I'll get you back up to Dick Enberg and Mark Grant.
All right, M&M will be with you after the game as Kevin Quackenbush throws the curveball up there. His first pitch to Chris Johnson, who has an infield hit with the bases loaded to knock in the run in the first inning in front of Jeff Mathis, who hit the grand slam. Those 5 runs growing taller and taller in the first inning. Now we're in the 8th, 5-2 Miami.
Boy, just one bad pitch to Jeff Mathis. That pitch down and in you were talking about there, Professor. After that, Drew Pomeranz pitched well, 5 innings. Carlos Villanueva, 2 innings, 1 hit, and 0s the rest of the way.
That ball hit well to deep left center field, and Jay is racing again to the wall, make another catch. I mean, he's making tough plays like that would look ordinary. Denying Chris Johnson.
Crack of the bat, he is off. Look at, he's on the first base side of second base. Long run, flash look. 2/3 of the earth is covered by water. The other third is covered by John Jay.
Well, that's my former colleague and great friend Dave Niehaus, the announcer, Hall of Fame announcer with Seattle, used to describe Franklin Gutierrez. Center field is where long fly balls go to die.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss Dave.
Yeah,
he was a good one.
John Jay. It's just remarkable when you see on the replays as the ball is struck, he seems to know before it's hit where it's going to go. Jeff Mathis, that grand slam homer in the first inning, that's the key to this game. That's a strike. In the driver's seat is brought to you by Kia. And Jeff Mathis, grand slam in the first inning, his 3rd career slam, 3rd home run in the last 99 games. As I told you, he hadn't played a lot this year, only 47 at bats. Had 1 RBI. Hits that one pretty well, and Jay's getting a workout there in left center. And that's routine for him. 2 away.
Oh, that's a can. Oh, corn.
And with 2 away, Miguel Rojas steps up. Rojas, hard ground ball out to 3rd and has struck out, and another out to the 3rd baseman Ryan Schimpf. Ichiro makes his first appearance in the game as a potential pinch hitter if this inning continues. Pitcher spot is due next. He had some very nice things to say in the big article in USA Today, talking about Ken Griffey. I'm talking about Ichiro, and how much he enjoyed playing with Griffey, and how he would like to be there to root him at Cooperstown. Safe. Good play made by Schimpf. But Rojas runs well and has a leg hit.
Wow. I thought he had him. From up here, it looked like he had him. From my vantage point, should get a good look here. Oh, I got it.
Yeah, that's really bang bang.
That is close, isn't it?
And they're going to challenge Andy Green. Umpires converge around home plate, and we'll head to the communications of New York. They're challenging.
Well, let's not forget what a great play by Ryan Schimpf.
Yeah.
Barehanded grab on the run and accurately throwing to first base.
And while he can play 3rd base, really second base is his best defensive position. He made the typical charge, bare hand, and throw. Well, we're in the 8th inning. Why not challenge?
Oh, I got out now. When that ball touched the back of the glove, if you freeze that when the ball touches the back of the glove and then you look to where his foot is, I believe that they may have him.
Rojas looking anxiously, would like the base hit.
Yeah. The ball's hitting the back of the glove, and then look at his foot. Has his foot hit the bag yet?
I think it already has. I think the arch of the foot has hit the bag. I mean, it's just one of those.
Right.
Can you overturn? Is there enough evidence to overturn it? I think this is one of those cases where he might be out, but he might be safe.
Exactly.
So the call on the field will stand. That's just a guess.
He just sounded like you threw out a Yogi Berra-ism. He might be out, but he might be safe, right? But I get what you mean, because there's not enough evidence to turn it over the other way.
Right. That's why this part of the challenge system, I abhor it, because it's delaying the game. In the old days, hey, so sometimes you're out, sometimes you're safe. You're not right, maybe either time. You're not wrong either time either. So play ball.
Yeah, and we've discovered, Dick, during this whole process that the longer it goes, the more it'll probably stay the same. The call will stay the same.
Yeah, see, I just don't think there's enough evidence to overturn the call on the field, even though he might be out. Oh, it is out. All right. Well, in that case, the delay wasn't so bad after all. 1, 2, 3. Quackenbush in the 8th. It stays 5-2.
Things that you do to prepare for a game, things like hits, home runs, RBIs, things like that you can't control. So I think that when it comes down to things like that, just focus on things that you can control, which is being a good teammate, playing the game the right way, and playing hard, and just, you know, making sure that you're always there, because sooner or later, I think that if you do things the right way, they work out.
Want to learn more about the man behind the mask? Here's your chance on an all-new SD Live featuring Derek Norris tonight after Padres Live right here on Fox Sports San Diego.
And he may yet play a big role in this game. 5-2. It's likely we'll see him as a pinch hitter, as David Phelps comes in for the Marlins, his 32nd appearance of the season.
And the blueprint is working for Don Mattingly's Marlins as they have the lead here. Bear Claw's their 7th inning guy. Now enter Phelps. He's the 8th inning guy with the 3-run lead. 4-pitch pitcher. Phelps, fastball, cutter, curveball, changeup. Mid-90s on that heater.
Matt Kemp, Melvin Upton, and Alexei Ramirez for the Padres in the 8th. Kemp has walked and grounded out, struck out. Padres have had chances to chip away. 3 times a man at second base and no one out in an inning, and unable to move him in. At 5-0 early lead, first inning lead, understandably demoralizing and giving Kohler that nice cushion before he throws his first pitch. High in the air, sailing toward foul territory, and well back out of play. Our rooftop shot is brought to you by Pinnacle on the Park.
How'd you like to have a view of that each and every night?
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, I'd buy into that. Swing and a miss, and Kemp goes down for the 2nd time tonight. That's the 11th strikeout for Marlin pitching. Well, time now to check our Cholula flamethrower.
Well, for Don Mattingly's Marlins in that bullpen, they've got some live arms. 95, and that's hot sauce. That last pitch we just saw was the front hip breaking ball, a little slider that started on the inside part of the plate, off the plate, and caught the inside corner.
Melvin Upton has grounded twice to second and struck out tonight. Phelps was Yankee property. Marlins acquired him along with Martin Prado from the Yankees in 2014 after the 14 season, in exchange for Nathan Eovaldi, Garrett Jones, and Domingo German. That ball is crushed. It's plenty high, but is it far enough? It's going to hang up in center field at the edge of the track. Oh, he just missed that. 2 away.
Boy, it had that sound, though,
It
didn't
sure
it?
did.
Missed it by that much.
Alexei Ramirez steps up. The duck in. This day in history is important, June 14th, because in 1990, 26 years ago, the National League announced plans to expand from 12 to 14, and that included, in 1993, the Colorado Rockies and the Florida
Marlins at the time, yeah. Early on, they took on the whole state. Now they're just narrowing it down to South Florida and Miami.
And they get that nice alliteration, Miami Marlins. It makes more sense, doesn't it? And you're going to love the other thing that happened on this day in history, that I was there. Line drive foul, 1974, Anaheim Stadium. The Angels beat the Red Sox 4-3 in 15 innings. And get this, this is almost inconceivable considering what happens today. Nolan Ryan was the starting pitcher. You knew that was coming. 13 innings. Went through 13 innings. 235 pitches.
Gosh.
19 strikeouts.
That's remarkable.
Broken bat, little soft liner right to the pitcher, and the inning is over. 235. Eight innings in the books, and the Marlins still leading on the 5-run first inning, 5-2. In the top of the 9th, here's Ichiro as the pinch hitter in the pitcher's spot. This remarkable slap hitter, and yet he can yank a ball for a home run against Quackenbush, and he takes low and inside. And you talk to the people that have played with Ichiro, and even to this day, at 42, he has the same routine as he showed the first day in the major leagues. He does his own thing. He's not in the clubhouse. A lot of guys eat a lot in the clubhouse. Not Ichiro. He's got his own stretching routine. And he takes another one, 2-0. One hit, if he should come up with a base hit, he would equal Pete Rose's major league total of 4,256. And he'd be only 22 hits away from 3,000 in the United States baseball. 2-1. There it is. Lifetime in the majors, 314 average. And takes another strike.
You know, I remember in 2001 when Ichiro was a member of the Seattle Mariners for the first time in Peoria, the talk around spring training was, you know what, this guy, the way he takes batting practice, this guy's not going to hit at the big league level. Boy, does he change their minds.
Slow roller to first, and Myers gobbles it up, and Ichiro is gone. Interesting, you brought up that rookie year with Seattle 2001. He hit 350.
Yeah.
You know what he's hitting tonight at that event? 350.
It's pretty consistent.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna, as you can imagine, the coverage of him the rest of the way as he approaches 3,000 hits. I mean, the core of Japanese cameramen, television, radio, writers to follow his incredible course here in the United States. Echeverria walked in the first inning, and that started the go-around as the Marlins scored 5 times, struck out and flied out twice since. Ground ball sharply, and Schimpf comes up with another fine play. Well, he's made 2 good plays at the hot corner, and then that charge, a barehanded throw, and denied Rojas in the last inning.
That is not an easy play. Ryan Schimpf at third base is saying, bring it on. Moving laterally to his left, the ball hit so hard, plenty of time to gather his feet and get Echeverria by a good 4 steps.
Former LSU Tiger at the hot corner tonight in his big league debut. Prado, a couple of hits his first 2 times, struck out, and a good play made by Amarista to range on a soft fly toward the foul line to capture his bid for a blue pit the last time. 2 outs, bases clean. A.J. Ramos getting loose in the Marlins pen.
He's their closer.
Nineteen saves on the year for Ramos. Ooh, gets a late call from plate umpire Lentz. It's 1-2. There he is. Reaches out and pecks that one into foul territory. Myers is there to make the play. 1-2-3. Quackenbush retires the Marlins in order. Here come the Padres. Ryan Schimpf will lead it off, bottom of the 9th. Padres star of the game, Ryan Schimpf, his major league debut, first at bat, he doubles to right field and scores the first Padre run. They say that baseball, that'll be a treasured souvenir. And a couple of defensive play, that tough charge, bare hand throw. And he gets Ramos, and then this hot shot at third, and he shows good leather again. Ryan Schimpf at 28, making it to the big leagues as our Carlos Jr. star of the game. And he leads it off here in the bottom of the ninth inning against the closer for the Marlins, A.J. Ramos, former star at Texas Tech. Red Raiders are in the College World Series again this year.
And he has been perfect, 19 for 19, a nice ERA at 2.1, and the strikeouts, more strikeouts than innings pitched. He throws a fastball, slider, and a changeup. Averages about 92, but can get up about 97. A.J. Ramos.
A double, a strikeout, and a flyout in his first major league game for Schimpf. All the way to the screen at 91. Grew up north of New Orleans in Covington, Louisiana. Signed by the Blue Jays. He was a 5th round pick out of LSU. 2009. Yeah. A.J. Ramos gets a call. It's 1-1. Line, but foul. Got a good piece of that out in front. Ramos, 19-game save streak, second only to the Mets' Familia at 21. Off speed, 2-2. Schimpf, then Bethancourt, Amarista scheduled here in the home half of the ninth. Again, if you're just joining us, Schimpf called up from El Paso. We're tearing up the Pacific Coast League, getting at a .355 pace with 15 homers and 17 doubles in just 51 games.
You know, Dick, after watching Ryan tonight, just looking at his body language, his facial expression, this kid's got some confidence. No doubt about that.
Right center field, Stanton on the run and closes the gap. One away. Let's go back to our keys to the game. Brought to you by our Honda dealers of San Diego.
Well, keep Stanton stagnant. We know that he's been scuffling lately. 1 for 3, a walk and a double. And keep the line moving. Talking about the Padres offense. Single runs in the second and the fourth. Hasn't cut it up to this point. Still trailing by 3 with 2 outs to go.
Just didn't deliver with runners in scoring position and no one out tonight. Bethancourt doubled and scored one of the 2 runs. Came home on Amarista's 2-out single back in the 4th. That made it 5-2, and we're still there. Still with a 0.0 ERA, I understand. How did he look last night?
He looked good. Pounding the zone. Gave up a hit and a walk. Struck out 1. 2 fly balls.
Still get it up there in the 90s?
Yeah, he was in the mid-90s. I think he worked in an Ephus pitch, the first pitch. Yeah.
Two and 1. Way outside. Padres need base runners. Got to get a couple of men on there and get that tying run to the plate. Amarista 2 for 2 in a walk tonight. Fires the fastball at 89. Actually took something off it. They get that strike. Full count.
Caught the inside corner. Good pitch.
Line base hit into left center. Didn't get it on the sweet spot, but aimed it perfectly over the shortstop's head, and that's 2 hits tonight for catcher Christian Bethancourt. Here's Amarista.
Well, Ramos is doing a fine job. Just getting on base against him is quite the challenge. He will walk some hitters, 18 walks in 25 innings, but only 16 hits in 25 plus innings. So tough to get on via the hit. That's some good hitting right there by Christian Bethancourt.
Amarista, 2 RBI singles and a walk tonight, and a stolen base. Brett Wallace is in the on-deck circle, the pitcher's spot next. In the dirt, nice dig by Mathis.
Young right-hander Jose Fernandez coming back from Tommy John surgery. No problem at all.
What is he, 9-3 this year?
He's having a great year. 9-3, a 2.57 ERA.
Padres able to duck him in this series.
118 punches in 80 innings.
So ball, 2 strikes, Amarista. Bethancourt to second. Amarista strikes out, and the Padres are down to their final out. Defensive indifference, and that moves Bethancourt into scoring position and brings up the pinch hitter Brett Wallace. Reminder tomorrow, here's your pitching matchup. Justin Nicolino, 2-3 with a 4.76 going for the Marlins. Luis Perdomo gets another start. He's 1-2. Building his confidence from Class A, the jump to the major leagues. The Padres gamble on this Rule 5 pick. They just admired the stuff from spring training on, and they see improvement with each performance. And Andy Green today commenting on how he just feels so confident that Perdomo's going to be, you look 2 or 3 years from now, going to be a star on the staff.
He's got that potential, no doubt.
Shift on. Not totally, as the shortstop Echeverria staying near second, but out in shallow right is Rojas. Waved at and missed. Pulled the string. Wallace. Well, he's hitting only .209 for the season as a pinch hitter, batting .354. 3 for 7. On the corner, and the Padres facing the last strike. Bethancourt at second, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th. Padres need 3 to tie. Ground ball up the middle and right at Echeverria in the dirt, but dug out by Johnson, and the ball game is over. The Marlins have won it 5-2. And with 1 home run tonight, the game total of $7,400 raised for prostate cancer research. To make a donation, you can go online to homerunchallenege.org. Riding the Grand Slam, the Marlins win 5-2. And here's Mike Pomeranz.
Dick, thanks very much. What more can I see on Padres Live, the post-game show? We'll break down what happened to Drew Pomeranz early. What was the key to the Marlins' early success? You'll hear from Don Mattingly and Andy Green in moments.